Robert, Manchester United have reportedly made contact with Bournemouth for Antoine Semenyo in a potential move. Now, we'll be going through the latest news. It's come out from Fabrizio, who we know is very reliable surrounding Manchester United news, and he has given us a huge update on Antoine Semenyo. So let's get into it now. This is what has been said. Manchester United and Man City have approached Bournemouth in the last 48 hours to understand the terms of Semenyo's £65 million release clause. Spurs are also pushing for the move, but the final decision remains with Semenyo. So, listen, we know United have been interested in Semenyo. This week, United called again between Monday and Tuesday. We know several clubs are interested in the Premier League. Liverpool has a potential replacement for Salah. So, listen, Semenyo, again, was a player who was linked to United last summer, quite heavily, to be fair. And I think Manchester United didn't kind of materialise with the deal for many reasons, probably with the fact they were pursuing Cunha in Burma and they wanted Sesko. And obviously all the budget went there, and that was probably the main reason why we didn't get Semenyo. Now, he was very close to going to Spurs. He was linked to a lot of Premier League clubs. Now then, he signed that contract with Bournemouth, which kept him at the club for another year. With obviously that £65 million release clause. Now, what I've seen people saying is United are not going to go to that midfield and try and upgrade it in January. So why not potentially look at an alternative option to Semenyo? Now, you look at if Semenyo was to come into the team, he would probably operate as a left wing back. Now, immediately again, it looks good in the attacking department. You have Ahmad and Semenyo as your wing backs, probably Bruno and Casemiro, Cunha and Burmo there. Sesko through the middle. Like, as an attacking team, looks very, very good. But then that means your defenders are only Luke Shaw. At the moment with the team that is playing, Luke Shaw, Aiden Heaven, and Lenny Yoro, and that just screams massive concern. So if you are going to bring in Semenyo to play as a left wing back, I think we really need to get three top quality centre backs in there. I'm not saying we don't have that at the club. I think potentially a Shaw, De Ligt, Mazraoui might work, or a Martinez, Mazraoui, and De Ligt. Something might work with the defence that we have, but ultimately that does leave United quite exposed. And I think we've seen the frailties with Ahmad at right wing back this season. That goal against Nottingham Forest that Gibbs White scored, Ahmad got caught out, and he will learn with time there. But I think our weakness is our wing backs, and I think Semenyo does immediately add that goal threat to that team. And you look at his average position in the Bournemouth team, it is quite deep. He is playing quite narrow on that left hand side. He has a good relationship with Truffet, had a very good relationship with Kirkes, and you look at the contact being made, it is quite huge because Semenyo is a very, very good player. And I think you look at how the goal he scored on Monday against Manchester United, it was a wicked goal, driving the ball from that right hand side, which mainly he has operated on both sides for Bournemouth this season. So again, he does have that variability there. But again, I think he certainly is a very interesting option to have. And the fact that United are making contact, again, they did that last year with Cunha and Burmo, just making contact, trying to see what can happen with the deal. They did that with Baleba, obviously nothing materialised with that deal. But again, it's clear to say that Manchester United are interested in signing Semenyo. That's been the talk last summer. This summer now, again, there's competition for many clubs. You look at Man City, I mean, they are quite stacked, but if a Savinho leaves, if a Bernardo Silva leaves, who else have they got? Jack Grealish, I don't know. Has he left permanently? I think he's on loan at Everton. Obviously, Jeremy Dock is probably going to say they got Cherky, Foden. So, again, they could potentially go for Semenyo as well. Obviously, Spurs, they were linked to him last year. They wanted Eze, they wanted Gibbs White, didn't get neither of them. Got Xavi Simons. Again, I think they got Mawani on loan. Their attack hasn't been great this season. Solanke's been out for large parts of it. You look at that Liverpool, Salah, the whole debacle, what's going on there? Could he potentially be on the way to Liverpool against as a potential Salah replacement? Again, so Arsenal as well. They've obviously got Saka, Madueke, Eze. I don't think he'd probably go to them. So he's going to look at all the options. It probably will be a Premier League club. Who that is, we'll have to wait and see. Again, Amorim, you can tell he likes him. The way that he talked about him before the game against Bournemouth, he said he's a special. He said Bournemouth have a very good team and a special player, and obviously that special player he was talking about was Semenyo. So again, there's a clear interest there. Contact has been made by Manchester United just to kind of see the terms. We know the price is going to be 65 million, which again in January might be very difficult to get done. I know City last January spent a lot of money. They spent over 200 million. I think it was Marmouche, Nico Gonzalez, Kusanov, Victor Reis. Like they spent a lot, over 200 million in January. So again, a lot of Premier League clubs will be spending. I mean, depending on how much they need the player. Would I say Semenyo is an absolute necessity right now? Probably not, but again, he'd be a good player to have. Premier League experience, a goal threat, defensive ability, and again, I think he'd be a very, very good player, and he suits that sort of profile that United are going for. Premier League experience, but also at the right age. He's 26 years old, which again is the age of Cunha and Burma right now. So again, he wouldn't have any problems there adapting to the league. But again, it certainly is an interesting sort of decision to kind of look at from United on Semenyo, because do they go for Semenyo? I think the midfield is definitely and should be the priority first. I think strengthening that midfield is something that has been needed for a while. Ugarte just hasn't really solved that problem. Casemiro, we know he's almost 34 now, I think. Bruno, we talked about that yesterday, about Bruno potentially going to Saudi, or his potential exit next summer. So the midfield is definitely a problem. But again, in January, we know the window's coming up. Could Manchester United potentially be going for Anton Semenyo in this window? Personally, for me, I'd love him at the club, but again, I think there are other priorities. And the price, 65 million for a player who he's got 6 goals in the Premier League already, and 6 goals and about 4 assists. So again, he's a player who again does get output, and he also is just a very good player to watch. Let me just check his stats. So he's 25 years of age, 7 goals, 3 assists this season. So 10 goals and assists in 15 Premier League matches. Last season he had 19 goals and assists in 42 matches for Bournemouth. So he is a player who has done very, very well for Bournemouth. And again, they're going to want a lot of money for him. Actually saying that though, Kirkes only went for 40 million. What did Howson go for about? Or did Howson go on a free? Howson might have went on a free. I know they lost to Barney. So again, it's going to be difficult negotiating with Bournemouth, but we know the terms and conditions of the deal. We know the price that Bournemouth want. It's going to be in that sort of region of, well, it's going to be £65 million, which is the release clause, which is similar to what United paid for Mbeumo and Cunha, 62.5 for Cunha and 71 for Mbeumo. So again, it's a decent price, for someone like Semenyo. And again, you look at goals, they're not being a problem this season, but he just gives us that depth. And again, if Semenyo does come into the team, he's going to want to start. And again, that brings another problem. What do you do with Dorgu, someone who you spent £40 million on? But again, it's clear to say that United are obviously planning ahead for their transfers, as they should be doing. I mean, January apparently is going to be a quiet January for United, depending on if any options come through. But again, the prediction will probably be maybe one loan, and you get and that's probably about it. But we'll see what does happen with Semenyo, because it certainly is an interesting option and someone who is obviously liked by Jason Wilcox and co at Manchester United. But let me know, would you like to take Semenyo at the club?